Hello, welcome to Swirl Spotlight. I'm Colin Hall, and I'm here with Chris Jensen and Katie Hauer, the executive and line producer of the musical that we're working on. Why don't you two tell us a little bit about the musical?
You want to start?
So the musical is something that SCC has never done before. It's about a young student, a young, ambitious, inspiring student named Jack who comes to film school with dreams of being a director, which most of us can relate to. In a sense, it's about the students here. He comes to film school with dreams of being a director, and he ends up getting dragged into a grip and electric nightmare where the grips kind of put him down and tell him, laugh at him and mock him and tell him he'll never be a director. He's only good to be G&E. And at the end, he ends up rising up and getting ready to follow his dreams. The last scene ends with a big Busby Berkeley type scene where Jack is directing it and his mom's standing there proud of him, cheering him on and telling Hollywood he's coming.
And we use as a metaphor a clothespin, which we call a C47, which is used to clip things, any things. And in this particular case, he receives this as the tool of his first film shoot, and he doesn't know what to do with it. He wants to be a director, and he's got a clothespin. At the end of it, after he goes through his nightmare, it is that clothespin which holds the set together for the scene he directs.
That's awesome.
And so that's the metaphor part of it.
It sounds very ambitious. I like that. How is it different from any projects that you guys have worked on in the past?
Well, for one, I've never worked on a musical ever. So right there, I mean, it's a much more than just, you know, a normal narrative, because you have the whole musical factor that you bring along into it, and dealing with the music department and kind of figuring out how to collaborate with them in a way that kind of complements both parties. And so that sense alone, I mean, it's just like nothing I've ever done before, nothing I don't think most of the crew has even ever done before. So it's been inspiring, and I think we've all learned a lot because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've done a lot of musicals. I've written a lot of more Christian musicals than anything else, and performed a lot of them. And I started doing that when I was 17 years old. I entered a musical writing contest and won.
Oh, wow.
And I've done a lot of music since then. And then I started doing the music, but I said, you know, we never did anything here. And so finally, I said, okay, why don't we write one for the students here? And so that's what we've been doing. We wrote one for the students. We have students that are performing it and dancing in it. And we change up the music enough so that it's not too boring. And we gave the students a shot at it, and I think they're doing a great job.
That's awesome. Yeah. What are some of the challenges so far that you guys have seen or had? from start to now.
I mean, for me, the challenge has been, I mean, I've never produced a project of this scale. So day to day, it's been challenging because it's a day-to-day kind of job. You can't really look ahead of a week from where you are currently and say, I know exactly what I'm going to have to do next week, because there's been a lot of times where I don't. So things just come up, and you kind of just got to go with the flow and do the best you can, and use all the resources you have at the school.
Yeah.
So I'd say that, but I mean, it's been more of a positive experience because our crew is so strong and everybody's friends, and so we've kind of all been able to bond, and so luckily we haven't had any negative experiences there.
My challenges have been to give up my vision to a director, because I've always directed my own musicals. And my challenge before this was working with my wife, who usually conducts big choirs around my musicals. And so obviously I have trouble letting go. I have trouble letting go when it comes to my wife. I'm going, wait a minute, she's doing my music, so she's got to listen to me. And when it comes to the director here, I'm going, wait a minute, he's got my musical. Is he doing the right thing? So it's more letting go than anything else. I have to let go my vision. And one of the beauties about letting go your vision is always that the person you let it go to, if they're good, is they will add their own special sauce to your vision,
Yeah.
and then you come back and go, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
And so I'm already experiencing that the DP, director of photography, has created a vision that I never imagined, but when I saw what there's two of them, what they were doing, I went, wow, that's really cool, and I totally get how that works with the story. And when the director brought on a particular character, I said, wow, that's something I would have never thought of. Also, he's very good at casting, and I would have probably not cast it the way he did, and I like his casting better than mine. So
Really?
it's really important to give away your vision.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have never thought of it like that, honestly. I've seen you poke your head in a few times during filming, and you're happy with everything that's going on?
Yeah, and I should mention that Kyle, who you're going to interview, he also co-wrote the script with me. So the music I did, and I did that with my wife, and he co-wrote the script. So that kind of collaboration is really good when you then include people like Katie and other students, like we have something like 25 to 30 involved with it. It's really good collaboration.
Who else is some of the talent on board?
Well, I'll mention a couple, and you can mention a couple. For makeup, we have Alice Cooper's daughter, and she's doing some special makeup for us. Our lead actor, who plays Jack, his name is Nathan, and he just got cast in Les Mis, and he's done at least 15 different leading roles,
Yeah, he's the
including
lead, right?
Les Mis coming
Yeah.
up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few student actors here. Cody Lacates, he's a part of our crew, but he's a very talented and he has a lot of character when he acts. You know, he can get into a role and become, I mean, like most actors, but I feel like Cody is just so outgoing.
Yeah.
And he's
And Desiree.
Desiree, yeah, we have
Oh, yeah.
Desiree too. So I mean, it's kind of,
She's a wonderful singer and dancer.
yeah, and they've really taken to their character. So when we're on set, we call them by their character name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of cool how that's worked out. Everybody that we casted, at least 75% of our actors were recommended by a crew member.
Awesome.
So that's kind of cool too.
That's true.
Yeah, most of our actors were recommended. So
How interesting. Yeah.
I think that dynamic is interesting on set because people have relationships from the past. So
Yeah. Now there's no disconnect.
there's
yeah.
no disconnect, and when you're comfortable on set, things can run more smoothly because there's no awkward tension. If
Right.
you have to tell somebody you need something, or can we do this, can we do this, can we do this, there's no one takes it personally. There's kind of a mutual respect there, and everybody kind of understands
Awesome.
that we need to do what we need to do to get it done.
Yeah. What's the most exciting thing about this project so far? I know it's a very broad
Sunday.
question.
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing is that it's the opener for the film festival.
Right.
And I just can't wait to present this to the school, and this be something that's never been done before. And I feel personally really proud of that, and I think our entire crew would agree that we're presenting something that's never been done, and it's scary, but we've had some really positive outcomes so far. I mean, it's, in my opinion, turned out way better than I could have imagined.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks amazing.
Sunday. Sunday
Yeah.
was a magical day. There was
Yeah.
we have a choreographer named Monica who came and
Monica.
brought a number of dancers, and it was a full-on dance scene from the parking lot down to part of the film school where they finally dance into the classroom, and I thought it was just magical.
That's awesome.
It really just worked beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah, they killed it. I mean, they were hitting every mark, the dancers, and I mean, the way they were dressed even, they just looked like students. Kind of reminded me of a scene out of Glee or something. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody was hitting their mark, and even our actors, I was impressed at how well they could dance
Yeah.
and keep up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just looked awesome, and she didn't overdo it, but she didn't underdo it, so she just hit the right mark
right
in
amount.
terms of how hot to bring the dancing,
Yeah.
you know?
That's exciting, especially bringing it to the film festival, and I mean it's made and shot here, so that's awesome. I think that'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to talk to Jesse LaBelle. He's one of the directors of photography for the musical. We'll be right back.
Take it.
Dateline, Walmart to Mexico. 25 million in illegal bribes to obtain Walmart stores. In Mexico, this means one thing, business as usual.
Tent! We can now feel safe at any budget level while still enjoying the best of pre-apocalyptic times.
Maybe the image of the Grim Reaper should be replaced by this. A cow grazing in a Monsanto-engineered alfalfa field.
Please help out a little bit.
I don't need you to criticize me and what I do.
I'm not trying to criticize you.
You're
I'm
being
just.
Finally, New Mexico. Meow. One friggin' big cat. Yep, that's all we have to say. And that's the news.
Welcome back to Saguaro Spotlight. I'm here with Jesse LaBelle, the director of photography for the musical, and I'm here with Kyle Osmundson, who is the director. How are you guys doing today?
Very well, thank you.
I'm good, thank you for asking.
Awesome, fantastic. So I've got a few questions for you about the musical, all right? The first question is going to be, tell us a little bit about the musical.
I'll leave it to Kyle.
All right. You want the story or?
No, just, well, sure.
Sure.
Give
All right.
me your rundown of the story.
Yeah, so the story is about a young man named Jack who's reticently entering the film school at the behest of his mother, who probably wants him to go off and be something better, like a doctor, an engineer, something that actually makes sense. But he follows his passion and enters the film school and goes through all sorts of roadblocks, reversals, struggles, tension, and whatnot, and ultimately succeeds at achieving his dream of becoming a filmmaker.
Awesome. You concur?
I concur.
Awesome, all right. Let's see, how does this differ from other projects that you've worked on in the past?
Well, I would say this project definitely has a lot of hands. There are a lot of hands involved. And all those hands coming together to work towards the final product has been amazing. There's been a lot of pre-production, and from that, everybody who's been doing their own job has been able to add their vision into the production. And everybody's vision coming together and working as one under the guidance of Kyle. And his vision has been awesome. And Chris Jensen.
Tell me about pre-production versus things you've worked on in the past and working on something like a musical.
Well, the musical is a lot different because during a normal production, if, anyone who's not familiar with it knows that, or anyone who's not familiar with it doesn't know that there's a lot of planning that goes into a shot order, logistics, dealing with actors, and dealing with actors and
Working with actors, dealing with actors.
And working with the atmosphere of world. It's not always going to be a beautiful sunny day like today, but sometimes you do have to work with that. But with a musical, there are two extra added factors that you have to take into consideration. That is, first and foremost, the music, because it's called a musical. But if it incorporates dancing, you also have choreography. So those are two other pieces of logistics that you have to, two other considerations you have to take into consideration when plotting out the logistics of the filming process.
Anything from you? No? You concur?
I concur.
I concur, fantastic. Let's see, what are some of the challenges so far that you guys have faced in pre-production and during our first weekend of shooting?
Well, one of the hardest parts, I think, for all of us has just been we have to get with choreography and we have to get with production design, and there's a lot of the two. And like as far as from a cinematography standpoint, there's been a lot of guessing, like where things are going to end up. But then what's great is we get the choreography, a week or so before, or we see the production design a week or so before, and then it's really go time. So we're limited a little bit long-term pre-production. It just means that when the time comes that we get the ingredients to finally plan out what we're going to do, it just means it's go time, and we get it done as quickly as possible.
What was the question?
Challenges.
Challenges. With any production, the challenge is getting to know your team. During pre-production, it's a nice process that eases you into the eases you into how everyone works. But on production days, it is 8 to 14 hours of hard work, and you just don't know how one person's going to work compared to the next. So every production has the issue of that first day. We're getting to know how each other work. So there's always a few kinks that first day.
Yeah, yeah. As director of photography and the director and writer, by the way, of the story, I may have not mentioned
Co-writer.
that, but co-writer.
Co-writer.
Was there, and still is there, any fear or doubt that it might not work out? Since we don't really technically have a filming a musical class here, is it a doubt in your mind?
Absolutely not.
No.
Fantastic.
I don't think there has been. The story was there from the very beginning. The music is
And the
incredible.
music, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Our actors, we really were lucky to have such talented actors, and our crew has just been busting butts.
Awesome. Katie Hauer said something really, really interesting, actually, how most of the makeup and talent and everything, they're not outside hires. They're like, you knew Nathan, our main actor who plays Jack.
I did.
And she said that it was really great because there wasn't really a disconnect. You know, there wasn't
Right.
that wall that you meet with, oh, hi, you're the actor, we don't know you, but we are all kind of like one big family. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It was-
It was great. It was great getting to work with people who were familiar. Some students, some not. Like Zach, our production designer. You know, he went here, and I've known him for a while. So, getting able to talk and collaborate with these people who are not completely unfamiliar, it's helpful. You know, because it makes for a warm, friendly set.
That's awesome.
I'd like to amend something on that, though. They were chosen because we know them, but more importantly, they were chosen because of the talent that each one had.
Absolutely. Well, that's what she brought up, was how miraculous that all those people were incredibly talented, like Sonora Rose, like who's playing Jack, Nathan, and the set designer. It all just came out to be pretty perfect. And Desiree too.
That's
Yep.
right, yeah.
You know, we all know her, so that worked out. Last question before we head out for the day: what's the most exciting / best thing about the project so far?
Well, I know for me, the most exciting thing about the project, for me, is that it's a musical. And I like musicals a lot, and I secretly brush my teeth to Get Your Head in the Game from High School Musical. So, being able to now take that passion from brushing my teeth every single morning into creating something that is something I'll brush my teeth to in the future
That an aspiring film student could come
and enjoy.
and brush his teeth to this.
Exactly.
something that
And
you
I mean, High
created.
School Musical came out in 2005, so I've been brushing my teeth to that song for 10 straight years. So I'm hoping for something new.
Kyle,
Follow that.
do you concur?
I don't brush my teeth to that song, but I do concur. Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you two so much for joining us, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. This has been our segment of Swirl Spotlight. We'll see you next time, okay?